G'day Spurs fans, Paul the Hotspur Hippie here, the only psychedelic soccer show on the internet. Found myself a little patch of greenery, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think we can expect or what could happen in the next few games in the Premier League. But I'm in a good mood today. I had probably my best Uber ride ever today. A soul singer from California gave her a lift to the airport and played one of her tracks. I'll put the link in the description below. Her name's Afua Danso, and you can stick your James Corden carpool karaoke where the sun don't shine. This was the real thing. It was like my own private little concert in the car, and it was wonderful. So if you ever get to see this, Afua, good luck with everything, and thanks for the entertainment, man. Thank you for the music. So anyway, back to little old Tottenham Hotspur, by far the greatest team the Galaxy's ever seen. And just quickly, I enjoyed the game against Manchester United, but according to a lot of pundits and word on the street out there, it was a crap game and it was average. Now, as I said in my review, where I was all cock a hoop, I was comparing it to our recent form and our recent performances, and it gave me a lot of hope. I saw flashes of what was really good. I thought on the whole we dominated the game. I don't know what people want, but it's looking good for us at the moment with all these players coming back. It's nice to see them. You can see what a difference to the team it makes. Now we're in sort of a bit of no man's land in the Premier League at the moment, where I think we're 4 points behind Brentford or something like that. But we've got a bit of a gap before we start our inexorable march up the table. So it'll take a few games to do that. And I reckon the next four will really give us a good idea. Now, of course, I always just take one game at a time, but I'm going to lump them into four just to, I don't know, just spice it up a bit. So our next game is against Ipswich. I think that's a win. I know people will say, oh, well, we lost, they beat us earlier in the season and all that. That was an anomaly. And to any gooners out there, at least we didn't lose to Ipswich in the 1978 FA Cup final. So, you know, you can shove that one as well. So that's a win. Then we got our bunny boys from Manchester. Which ones? They're all our bunnies these days, I hear you say. Well, Manchester City at home. Again, I think that's a winnable game because we've beaten them twice this year. We beat Man United 3 times. Let's make it a clean sweep, boys. A clean sweep over Manchester. Tottenham Hotspur, 6 wins. Manchester in its entirety, 0 points. That would be fantastic. And then we've got... forgotten which way around it is. We've got Fulham and we've got Bournemouth. So, you know, we've got 4 games there. Okay, look, the Man City game is the trickiest one. Let's be head out of the clouds for a bit. But I'll have my head in the clouds while other people have had their head in the sewer talking about relegation, because that was never going to happen. But I think after those 4 games, we'll get an idea. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to, you know, climb to any lofty heights in the league, but as well as us playing those 4 games, we might see if other teams start having injury problems or form problems. I mean, there's a long way to go in the season yet. After all, Manchester United have lost, I don't know, how many players in the last 2 weeks, 6 or something like that. If it can happen to us, it can happen to them. It happened to Newcastle United last year with the pressure of Champions League football. Look at how they're doing this year, a lot better. So I think after 4 games, that means we'll have closed that kind of 4-point gap, and then we'll see where it takes us after that. But definitely, I think we'll be back in the top half. And then, after all those games, we've got a game against Chelsea, who, I don't know, people are always scared of Chelsea. I just don't, you know, I don't rate them. I can't fit it into my brain to give Chelsea any credit for anything at all, because to me they're just a second division team that's been propped up. But look, I mean, some of the reaction to the game, I think, I don't know, man. I think there's a lot to be hopeful for. I think Danzo was really good, but for Onana, this is the thing I've been seeing a lot. If it wasn't for Vicario, we would have lost 3-0. Well, unfortunately, we did have Vicario. You can't just arbitrarily cancel a player out of the team. I mean, you could take any player out of the team and say we could have lost because we'd be playing with 10 men, or, you know, it's a weird old thing. I've heard Gary Neville use that old ploy before about when he's talking about Arsenal. hey, if Arsenal had a striker, they would have won. Well, they don't. You know what I mean? I'd like to have dinner with Megan Fox, but that ain't going to happen, is it? If I had dinner with Megan Fox, she'd have a wonderful time, we'd have scintillating wit and witty repartee, but it's not going to happen, is it? So no Megan Fox for me, no striker for Arsenal, and we've got Big Vic between the sticks back in the goal. So it's all uppity up, up, up for Tottenham and down for everyone else, including me. And Megan, really. Poor old Megan, she's missing out. But we've got a nice break now as well, a nice rest for a few days. It's funny, isn't it? There's got to be a balance there somewhere. Like last year, I was crying out for games. Although we had more international breaks last year, we got less of those. That really disrupted the whole season last year. International break after international break. It felt like every other week that most national countries, from what I could see, a lot of them were playing pointless friendlies. Like England was playing Nations League, or I mean, who cares what that is? I remember what used to happen with international football would be the Premier League or the First Division would not change, and there'd just be a midweek international, whatever countries were playing, and players would go off for international duty. That's the way it used to be. But I suppose now, because the Premier League is in a situation where even Tottenham, most of our players are international players, so they'd all be disappearing. Whereas back in the day, you'd have maybe one or two English internationals, or a Scottish international, or Welsh, or an Irish, but you wouldn't be having the extreme mix of people from all over the world. So I understand why they do it, but I still think bring it back to the way it was, and that's up to teams to manage. If you've got too many internationals in your team and that hurts your fixtures, I don't know. I'm an old romantic, an unrealist, pie in the sky sort of person. But then this year we've got the opposite. So last year it felt like we were playing so few games, and this year it's just match, and I don't know about. I could see, from time to time, Ange getting tired in press conferences, or grumpy, as he puts it, and the players getting tired out on the pitch. It tires me as well, having to get up at 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock twice a week, and what have I got to complain about though? So this reduced period at the moment, just one game a week. Then we've got an international break coming up, and then we've got the Europa League. People, I'm not going to get mugged in North Sydney, let's face it. Someone will probably just tell me to, stop filming trees. That's what would happen here. I'm not going to get mugged. What was I saying? Matches. We've got a bit of a break. Then we've got an international break, and then I think the UEFA Cup. We'll call it the UEFA Cup. The UEFA Cup draw is, I think it's on the 21st of February. So we'll find out who we've got in the first round of 32. It should be a doable team, whatever it is. Cancel that phone call. It should be doable, and then hopefully we'll be in the round of 16 where it starts getting all easy wizzy, let's get busy, and we'll see what happens from there. So in the next 4 games, and by the way, here's a stat for you. Here's a stat. Only 3 teams have won their last 2 Premier League games. Wow, what a track record here, but we're one of them. It's us, Liverpool and Fulham. Just 3 out of 20 have won their last 2 games. I mean, on form of the last 2, we're one of the top 3. Next 4 games, I think we'll have a clearer idea of both how we can perform, because we'll be back to near enough match fitness. You're never going to be 100%, but we're going to be a lot better than we were. We'll see how other teams are faring out in their fixtures, where their injuries are building up, and hopefully we can close some of those gaps. So I'm nothing but positive about the way we're going this season. There could be some glory yet for Tottenham Hotspur. And don't forget to check out Afua Danso's track in the description below. It's a banger, and I had a live performance, and it was great. Good for the soul, man. Peace and love, man, and come on you Spurs.